Oh yeah, we're here. We are back.
You and these hats. You and these hats.
Hey, you see this right here? Patrick Mahomes, number 15, greatest to ever do it. Kansas City
I'm
Chiefs,
about to move
champions
this into
again.
this a little closer so
What
you can
what what
see
is the
me.
host do? You realize we're live, right? I don't
Oh,
think
we're
she understands
live,
the concept of live. What's
bro.
going on?
Oh my god, you should have said something. This is why I can't stand you. Okay, I'm up here adjusting the
Bro,
interface
the
because you don't want to
audio,
warn nobody.
the Spotify listeners are like, bro, I don't know what's going on. They're just talking.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Reality Recap. My name is Honesty Tajay. You did that on
Shot
purpose.
B94. Honestly, I didn't even hear you. I was looking at my mic. It's Shot B94 on Twitter. If you're on video on YouTube, you can see it. Go ahead and follow me. Talk to your boy. I talk back. You know how it is.
You sound very corny, but okay.
Hey,
No,
where the
I kid
topics
you
at,
not.
dog? Come on.
I kid you not, y'all. Every time I want y'all to just start paying attention to the old podcast, this new this revamp and everything. Every time I introduce myself, Shaka will create a long ass pause in between me talking and him talking. And so it's just awkward silence waiting for him to introduce himself. I kid you
You
not.
know what it
I
is. You know what it
even
is.
no. I mentioned it before we even started rolling,
You know what
and I
it
feel
is,
like you just
bro.
intentionally did it.
You'll get used to it too one day when you get to my level. But like me at where I'm
What,
at in life, I'm used to being
bro?
introduced. You know what I mean? I'm not used to
Get
having introduced
the
myself.
fuck.
So I'm like waiting for my name to be called out.
Who's the
Usually.
last? Who's the last person who introduced you? Who's the
Starting
last
point
person that
guard,
introduced you
number
ever?
21, coming out of Kansas City.
Oh,
Shaka
how long ago was that? 10 years
Bimbo.
ago. 10 years ago.
I was in the program
Yeah,
run
let's not.
a
Let's
couple
not.
months ago.
You know, I sat on a whole panel last year, about 4 months ago. I was reintroduced. Okay, so let's not even go there. But
What are the topics, man? Come on
be,
now. Time is money.
be that as it may, like we said, welcome back to Recap, where we like to give our honest opinions about what's going on in the real world, whether film, movies, pop culture, politics. Thank you for joining us. If you have not done so already, make sure you follow us on all the socials at Reality Recap Pod. If you have not also done so, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got a YouTube channel, so if y'all like to see us in addition to hearing us, make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify. You ready?
Let's do it. I'm my phone on silent. My bad. All right, let's go.
Nah, I gotta make sure the same thing too. No. Okay, so we're gonna start off with our pop culture segment, y'all. Ben Crump has signed on, not allegedly, it's confirmed, has signed on as the attorneys representing of one of the families that is suing Glorilla and one other rapper for the stampede that resulted in a couple of deaths at the concert in New York City. And so, if you don't know who Ben Crump is literally the guy who's kind of like, I hate to say it, he's the black lawyer who really pretty much represents a lot of families either suing in the matter of like police brutality, just very like tragic incidents surrounding black people, black lives. And so he has officially just signed on to represent the family in this suit against Glorilla, and I think it's like another rapper. His name is
The finesse
Psy
two
something.
times.
Finesse 2 times. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know these people. I know Glorilla. You know I know that. I'm FREE.
Oh my god.
You know.
This is the
But I'm
story
just
right
saying,
here.
whatever. But he's signed on to represent the victims, and all I have to say is this is going to be a very lengthy, long trial, and it's very unfortunate that this is happening so early in Glorilla's career. I don't know.
What is the
Also,
trial
too, people
about?
are,
Sorry. What is it about?
well,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
so Finesse 2 times and Glorilla. I don't know if there was really anybody else at the concert, but allegedly, there was a concert in New York City where Glorilla and Finesse 2 times were performing on a Sunday night in Rochester Main Street Armory. And suddenly, something prompted a surge of people to exit the building all at once just after a little 11 p.m. This like surge of people resulted in a stampede of 2 people. I thought it was 3 people, but allegedly it resulted into a stampede of 2 people, and deaths confirmed. I believe it is actually gone up to 3 people. And unfortunately, it's just one of those matters where like we're having right now in our culture and our climate right now, where like conversations about safety, like concert goer safety, performer safety in spaces. And, unfortunately, this is an incident where we don't know what prompted the surge of people. There was allegedly, some people allege that there was gunshots. Some people thought they heard gunshots. Others are insinuating that maybe it was a pepper spray going around in the crowd. This is all allegedly, of course. But regardless, this stampede or this surge resulted in the deaths of a couple of people. And now Ben Crump has signed on to be the lawyer to represent one of the victims' family.
What was your standing when the stampede happened at Astroworld? Like, what was your take on that?
I was very in the mindset of just kind of like, I felt like the festival itself, like who organizes the festival, is overwhelmingly who's at fault. And then another part of me had also felt like Travis Scott had to bear the responsibility of the victims being also hurt. So just as much as there was fault in bearing the responsibility and have to like accept the consequences of the organizers of the festival, I also felt like to a certain degree Travis Scott also had to be someone who bear the responsibility, because there have been multiple videos that have came out in the past where it show Travis Scott like in like routing up a crowd, like Travis Scott like allegedly instigating his festival goers. And you already know the type of culture and climate that's in those festivals is people just kind of like moshing, and like people are just kind of like they're pushing their way to get closer and closer to the celebrities they love. And so if like you have a performer like Travis Scott who's allegedly encouraging you to freaking fight your way up to the front, I mean, you kind of bear a bit of responsibility for that too. Does he bear the full responsibility? No. That's definitely more so the festival itself, because I mean, like this is an organization that has the funds to be able to ensure precautions are put in place for the safety of not only the people who are attending, but the staff itself and the performer. What about you?
No, I mean, I always felt weird about it because, like, part of me is kind of like, what do we hire like officials and safety people at the concerts for, who actually like are trained in this? And like the venue should be built in a way to where they have access to people even during the concert. When you have a venue that's built in a way to where like it's like a death trap when people start moshing, like sometimes I feel like the venue takes some responsibility for that, right? And I get it. Yeah. Like Travis Scott as an artist tends to encourage wild behavior, but at a certain point, I mean, part of that is a part of the show. Like, it's part of the draw for Travis Scott is the fact that he's really like a rager. Like, I mean, he is like the rager rap guy. Like, he's like the face of that, right? And so I just feel like, I don't know. It's tough. I know in the Glorilla and Finesse 2 Times case, there's probably going to be less of an argument for that type of behavior, because I don't see how. I haven't watched the video, but I don't think that they're probably on stage like egging it on as much as Trav usually does.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But I've always just felt like, yes, they bear some responsibility. They should have to come out some bread for that. But like when we start talking about jail time and stuff like that, I don't think Travis Scott should go to jail for that. I don't think Glorilla or Finesse 2 Times should go to jail. But in terms of like coughing us on the bread, like that's part of the
Facts.
game. Like,
Facts. And that's what I say, because like there are resources that are put into play in place for you to establish precautions for everyone who attends this festival, whether for work or for enjoyment. And so when those precautions are put to this test and nothing shows up, then yes, you financially should be held liable for it. And who should be held liable overwhelmingly is, of course, the festival itself, the organizers behind the festival. Because what a lot of people also don't know is these festivals have insurance. They have insurance in place to protect them and the organization. And so their insurance ranges from being able to not be fully liable or protect themselves financially if someone does die, if a group of people do get injured, if a stage collapses, if an earthquake happens, if a fire happens, they have insurance in place. So not only do they have resources put in place to establish precautions, but if something were to go wrong, most of these festivals have also insurance to protect them too. So yes, them, in addition to the organizers, should be held financially liable for it. So, in this matter for Glorilla and Finesse 2Tymes, I truly believe it is well within the right of the families to sue the organizers in addition to Glorilla and Finesse 2Tymes. Like, I don't think it should be a matter of just suing Glorilla, because it's like trying to sue the artist for something that they might necessarily not have any hands in. Like, who's to say that, Glorilla was really involved in organizing the concert? Like, we know good and well she probably wasn't. There are people above her who are in senior level positions or having communications from the labels to, the organization or the space itself, that are organizing to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen too. And then from my understanding, at concerts like this, for the most part, we're in front of there's a space that's between the stage, and then there's like a little bit of space, and there's barricades. In that midst of that little bit of space, there's supposed to be technically security guards within feet of one another. So it's like supposed to be a multitude of security guards just observing and watching the crowd, and providing aid, or just like being able to support and ensure the safety of the party goers and the performers. And so this is a situation where, like, you're kind of questioning, where were those individuals to make sure something like this wasn't happening? I mean, like, anything can happen, but who was also near the door or around the edges of this, space to ensure that there wasn't so much of a surge that resulted in the death of multiple people,
Yeah, I'm seeing too that they weren't actually like on stage when it happened or anything. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't
So that's
know.
why
So
I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I don't know if this is a matter of where, like, I feel like Finesse 2Tymes and Glorilla should be held responsible for it. Like, this feels like one of those things where, like, this is definitely a thing where the event space and a thing where the organizers of said concert should be held financially liable. Now, I will say it does look a little bad that this has happened, and has happened now, because like we just got off the cusp of having these hard conversations about ensuring safety at events like this, at concerts, at festivals, so to imagine something like this is happening so soon after what just happened at Astroworld, it's kind of crazy.
I hear you. But moving on, what else is going on?
That's my thoughts. Facts. Moving on. So you listen to Bad Bunny?
Oh yeah, I
know
do
Bad
a little
Bunny? You
bit.
respect
A
Bad
little
Bunny?
bit. Do I know that? No, I know Bad Bunny. No, I'm under a rock. Patrick Star.
You took a little
Yes,
while
I
to
know.
answer.
What? I know more
no,
Bad Bunny
so-
than you. Are you crazy?
All right, don't do that.
I do.
Okay?
What?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay.
I have like.
But Bad Bunny
What am I doing?
ex-girlfriend, Bad Bunny's ex-girlfriend filed a $40 million lawsuit against him for using her voice for music tracks without her consent. This honestly, like, the $40 million suit is surprising in itself, but this is also very interesting and surprising because it comes right after the cheating scandal of Bad Bunny. Like, he allegedly cheated on this said girlfriend, and he's also like being talked about a little bit more because like he's allegedly dating Kendall Jenner. So a lot of people are like, this is some revenge stuff. Some other people's like, get your money, girl, because we're not gonna deny it. I mean, her voice is featured on like two of his like multiple tracks. One that was released in like May.
$40 million though.
You have to think about how much money he has made from those singles, how much records he sold, how much revenue. Like literally, you have to think about it. That her voice is featured on, you know? So I don't know. Is it worth
40
40 million?
million.
Who am I
Come
to say
on.
that? But it's definitely worth some money. It's definitely worth some money. And let's be honest, we know they're gonna settle. You know? They're gonna
Nah,
settle.
she's not gonna get nowhere near 40 million.
If
But she's gonna get some. She'll get some
I
peas, fam. She might get
she
four.
might get 4 million. That's what I said. She might get 4 million. 40 million's pretty egregious, you know, but it also depends on what court are we having this, like what court are we having this suit in? Did you ever think about that?
Well, listen. I feel like her biggest argument, because I'm reading something about it right now. Here, I'll even put it up for people to see that are watching. Her biggest argument is the whole the amount of plays and how popular the music is, right? Which is kind of what you were getting at, right? The only problem with the argument that I see that maybe Bad Bunny in his legal representation might use is the fact that like it doesn't matter what he does. The fact that he's Bad Bunny accounts for so many of those listens. You know what I mean? To where it's like
Mm-hmm.
she's going to get a split, kind of like when people like write music, right, and you go to court and they'll like actually have a judge argue over how much of the music that you wrote ended up in the final track. So I think she'll get a percentage. But the fact that Bad Bunny is who Bad Bunny is, bro, it could be me on the recording talking. It's gonna do 200 million listens. It's Bad Bunny, bro.
But what they're saying is like, here's two things that I'm thinking. Like, we have to keep in mind, what court is this suit gonna be under? Like,
Going like
is
Mexico?
this gonna be who knows? Is he from? I don't think he's from Mexico.
Where's Bad Bunny from? Let's see.
I thought Bad Bunny was Puerto Rican
Maybe.
or Dominican. Is he Dominican? I know it sounds so bad that we don't know this, y'all, but
He's Puerto Rican.
I told you.
5'11". He don't look 5'11". That's crazy.
No, I told you. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's Puerto Rican. That's why him and J-Lo had like a performance together because it was supposed to be like this whole big thing. But no, it really just depends on what court this will be, played out in. In Puerto Rico, she might get a good chunk of that. Like she just might. But this is what I'm saying. I was reading the Vulture article and it basically said that she's suing for the recording of her voice saying Bad Bunny baby, but it's not only used on songs, it's used on records, promotions of said songs and records and himself, concerts, TV, radio, social media, music platforms, and she's claiming it was done without consent. And so my thing is, what a judge might do is actually ask the financial statements for each one of those things and where this song, her voice was featured. So how much money did he make from a radio appearance? How much money did he make from the song being played on the radio? How much money did he make from a concert and her voice was featured? How much money did he make from the song on Spotify, the streaming of that song? So I would imagine any judge would want to look into the financial statements of where her voice would be featured and would make the decision of what would be a reasonable amount to award his ex-girlfriend for that. Now, I said, do I think it'd be 40 million? No. But I mean, that's a lot of different places that her voice was shared. And if it was out consent.
Look, the craziest part about this is this part right here. This further, De La Cruz is claiming representatives for both Bad Bunny and his label, Remus Entertainment, attempted to buy the recording in 2022, first offering her $2,000. So it's just like, all right. And they proceeded to go ahead and put on the album anyways. It's like, all right, what level of professionalism are we operating with if the record label knows that she didn't agree to buy it and you guys go and proceed with it anyways? It's kind of like, at this point, you were asking for it. Actually, I hope she gets a ton of bread just because, like, bro, like, what's going on? Like, what? That's just gross negligence, bro.
Heck of negligence. Like, if he really, like, allegedly, like, used her voice without consent, and you use it all over these places, and you use it on a song too, 2 separate songs. I hope she gets every bit of $40 million. I hope she gets every bit of
Maybe
$40
not
million.
40. I hope she gets every bit of $10 million that she's earned.
Nah, I hope she gets, because that's also another thing too. I think a lot of people are also saying that like maybe this was like a revenge type of suit too, because people are saying allegedly like this is a revenge suit because she was his girlfriend before his rise into this, and like they just recently broke up. So she's been with him from the before his career, the start of his career, the peak of his career, and so he got to a point of stardom, and then their breakup resulted in allegedly a scandal, like a cheating, allegedly a cheating, yeah. And then here he is allegedly after the breakup, allegedly after cheating, using her voice on a song after not being with her.
We're saying it's revenge on her end. My rebuttal to that is, of course it is. What else would you do if you got cheated on? Like, you're supposed to go get the bread. When they're together, there's no reason you're not going to sue somebody you're dating that you have access to the money. You sue when you. So yes, it being revenge has nothing to do with the suit. Like that's irrelevant. I don't care if it's revenge or not. It should be revenge. That's how you enact revenge.
But that might be something his representatives would bring up. Would be like,
I feel like it's not going to argue.
Hold on, no. I feel like they would argue the fact that like this suit has no standing because the defendant or the suer or whatever is suing this out of only trying to get back in spite of my honor or in spite of my client or honor. Like I feel like that would be something that his representatives would argue. And
on her end, they would be like,
also hold on,
and so
also they would probably argue, because like they would have to pinpoint the exact timeline of when they were together and when they were not together, and then they would argue like if you were together during these times in this relationship and during the relationship these records came out with your voice and there wasn't no complaint during that time, why suddenly do you have a complaint during this time? You know, that would be an argument.
Is it like a statute of limitations? It might be.
I don't know. You
have like a window.
I feel like maybe it would be a bit of a. I feel like it would be a bit of a window because here's the thing. I think any good representative would argue that the defendant or whomever, the person, the girlfriend, clearly was okay with it during the time of the relationship. And when my client no longer wanted to be with said partner or said girlfriend, suddenly she filed this baseless suit against his client for something. Hold on, for something she gave consent to during the time that they were in a relationship. And so now we're just gonna renege on negotiation deals and verbal deals because you're no longer with the person. Because it all, like I said, it usually also depends on what court this is gonna be in. Because like if there was a verbal agreement, like those are binding in some states, some cities. Like you verbally saying, yes, you can use my voice. Yes, you could do this. In some states, that's binding. And so like that's why I said it also depends on like where this suit would be.
Nah, for sure. But we'll see. We will keep you guys posted. Yeah. Probably not. But yes. What's next, bro?
Yo, I just scratched my laptop screen. Y'all, I'm out here struggling with this laptop screen. Why did nobody tell me you're not supposed to put screen protectors on a laptop screen? I messed up my laptop screen, and now I'm having a heartbreak session alone because I literally try to just get this adhesive stuff off my laptop, and I think it just scratches itself. And all while trying to get the scratches off the screen, I scratched the screen.
Yeah.
Emotional damage, okay? Okay, but moving on to our next pop culture topic. Let me move through this a little swiftly. 50 Cent's power goes to a mediation instead of court. So first off, I just want to let it be known, I had no idea that 50 Cent's power was in a whole suit anyways. But there was a $1 billion lawsuit against 50 Cent in relation to power. And it says, hold on, let me says, In April 2021, a gentleman by the name of Corey Holland Sr., whose nickname is Ghost, filed a $1 billion lawsuit against Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, the Starz Network, and the series creator Courtney Kemp for alleging that the beloved show was based on his likeness. Holland believes that Kemp was inspired to create the show after obtaining a copy of the CD Blasphemy, which was originally given to Kemp's father in 2007. He believes the seventh season of Power and the first two seasons of Power, Book 2, Ghosts, were directly inspired by that CD. Given that Power has now birthed 3 spinoffs in the network, and it has, and successfully, Holland feels that a $1 billion asking price for supposed intellectual property theft is justified. What do you think about that? Because you know that's your boy.
Listen. Bro, what's up with these asking prices today? $1 billion? Bro, come on. I'm like, yo.
For the likeness off of the last season of Power and maybe the first 2 seasons of Ghost.
Me and my boy 50 go way back, right? And what I've learned about 50 Cent, right, is he's a reasonable guy to a certain extent, right? But the minute he feels like you're on BS and $1 billion asking price is BS, I feel like he's going to throw everything he can to not have to settle out of court. Like, he wants to win. I can see this getting ugly. Like, I can see there being a world where maybe they could have put enough pressure on 50 Cent and his people. You said what?
Didn't Tierra Marie go to court with him, and she went all the way to court, and she ended up losing, and she ended up having to pay him?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Look, 50 Cent is the kind of person where he will not settle. You're like, oh, you want to go to court with me? Let's really go to court then. He's going to flip it on you, bro. That's my point. If you make an asking price that is reasonable, that's enough pressure to where they have to settle out of court, you might be able to get some bread off of this. But I just feel like $1 billion, bro, it just sounds ridiculous. I don't know.
How much did Tierra Marie sue for? I want to know that. Like, I would be interested in knowing how much did Tierra Marie sue? Because it's kind of like, I feel like the situation we're in right now. I keep looking at this freaking laptop screen, and I have damaged my laptop screen. I just kind of wish I would have left the screen protector on there. That's so sad. I don't want to look at this no more.
It was like a revenge porn lawsuit.
Yeah, where she said like him sharing, I think it was it was a public video of her, right? Like it was already shared on other socials, and he ended up sharing it on his socials, like talking negatively about it, and she like sued him, and unfortunately, she lost. Ended up having to pay him and his lawyer's fees, and allegedly she hasn't paid him back yet.
She owes him.
They said when he asked about it recently, she's like, "I just don't got it. 50. I don't got it. 50. $50,000. Yeah, it was crazy.
But nah, look, bro. Look. I just feel like there's no way. I mean, maybe so, but I just feel like these people, they have to have legal representation that is looking for the pitfalls ahead of time. Like, I don't know.
I mean, for somebody to take it on, but it's just kind of like also too. So like these representatives, sometimes representation is not doing things that they feel like is winnable. They're doing things at the end of the day, and they know they can get a check from it. They know they can get some notoriety behind it. All of that, you know. Now there are some lawyers who are, you know, backing suits or whatever because they actually believe that it's winnable, and they actually have a good record of winning cases, and they're not trying to damage it by taking on something that will lose. So that's why they really might feel like this would be a case that could do well. But I don't know. These sound like cases where people are getting duped into thinking that they actually have like a case to win $40 million, a case to win $1 billion. Does this man know how many billionaires are in the world? Is 50 Cent even a billionaire? Let's be for real.
And
I think that's what this mediation is for. It's for them to be like, be for real. $1 billion? $1 billion. Why are you lying? You do not honestly deserve $1 billion.
It says
Bro,
50 Cent visited his house on 2 occasions in no effort to intimidate him. That's crazy.
this
Do you
is
think he did that?
allegedly he came to his house to intimidate him.
I feel like the old 50 definitely would be on that, but I just don't know if the new 50 Cent is actually going to people's houses with with armed security to threaten
I
them.
don't feel like he would go to intimidate him. If anything, I think he would probably go to like make a mockery like out of him. Like, this is the same man
Yeah.
that waged a whole bet against Floyd Mayweather and said if he could read a freaking Dr. Seuss book,
No.
he would donate to a charity of his choice. Like, this is the same man. So do you think that 50 Cent is honestly going to somebody's house just to intimidate him? No, 50 Cent is not in that life. If anything, he's gonna publicly make a mockery out of you.
Listen, bro, if you guys are watching
That's
the
not the
video
Dr.
version,
Seuss one.
it's not. But this one right here, though, have you seen this meme of 50 Cent like waking
I
up?
have
Like,
seen that one.
what did I have to do with this? 50 Cent's hilarious, bro. Side note. But nah, dude. Nah,
He seems entertaining, but he's also mad disrespectful. 50 Cent is mad disrespectful.
But it's equally disrespectful. He's an equal opportunist. Anybody can get to work. You know what I'm saying? Am I wrong?
Bye.
Am I wrong?
Bye.
Am I wrong?
Bye. Bye.
What's
When
next, bro?
during the time that him and Vivica Fox were beefing, I was like, dang, he even went after like one of his exes that he was like dating her, like love. That's crazy. 50 Cent just has no shame. He has no shame. His commentary on the Jussie Smollett case, like, he has no shame. He's gonna say how he feels.
Bro, when he went to DJ Khaled's mom's place of work, that was crazy.
That was wild. That was a wild moment in hip hop. That was crazy. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on from 50 Cent. That man ain't getting $1 billion. He'd be lucky if he get like $1 million, honestly. They probably gonna settle out a court.
Hey, keep messing around, he gonna owe 50 Cent. Keep messing around, he gonna owe 50 Cent 10,000. Be careful. Don't let the tables get flipped on you now.
Oh my goodness. But moving on into our next topic for the day, Dylan Brooks. This man is just taking L after L after L after L. Oh my gosh. Don't they have a new like nickname for him, calling him the villain? Instead of Dylan Brooks is Villain Brooks.
I can see that, bro. He's a villain for these outfits that he comes up with. Have you seen these? Hold up.
No, did you see him trying to swap jerseys? Did you see it?
With Kyrie?
In the world. Not the jean shorts, okay? Yes, the jersey swap with Kyrie. He took off his whole jersey, and Kyrie just dabbed him up and walked away. And did you read the response of what Kyrie said?
That he didn't see him or
that
something?
Man, he's lying. Kyrie's lying. He's lying. That man is lying. He said that basically, like, he didn't even notice, and like he was just like, you know, I wasn't even trying to be on that today. I'm like, so you wasn't trying to be on that today. So wouldn't that mean that you did notice and you realized you wasn't on that type of time today? Like, you didn't want to really swap jerseys?
Here it is right here.
Straight took off his jersey, tried to extend it to him, and straight dapped him up and walked away. That is embarrassing. I would be embarrassed.
To be fair, there is plausible deniability to where Kyrie kind of didn't see it. I can see that, but to the other point
saw the man take off his jersey, and he said Dylan allegedly they said that it was like agreed upon that they were gonna do that, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, it's all bad. Have you seen the video back and forth between him and Draymond?
I think I have. I also saw the video of Dylan Brooks pushing that cameraman. Let's be fucking for real. He's straight crazy. Didn't have to push that man. He did not have to push that man. That was intentional. He had already, stopped his like momentum of like almost falling over. And so that extra was a push. He's like, that was a push, dude. That's why I'm like, I didn't understand what was the hate towards Dylan Brooks until I started seeing a compilation of videos of him just doing stupid stuff or him just being mad disrespectful.
Yeah,
They
bro.
didn't have the
Like,
audacity to look back at the dude as he was on the ground and still didn't do a single thing.
it's all bad, dude. Like the Draymond stuff, which is more
Crazy.
like, posturing, him being disrespectful to a legend, which is bad enough. But this type of stuff right here, this is actual villainy. And like this is the type of stuff where it's like, all right, bro.
Look at that!
It's bad,
Sorry,
bro.
I didn't mean to scream. I
He
didn't mean
got
to
fined
scream
for
at the
that, though.
mic
He
for
got
those who
fined.
listen. But he straight pushed him. Straight pushed him. There was literally no point. And I hope he got fined the big bucks too. If I was that cameraman, I'm my neck, my back, my shoulder, my ankle. I ain't been able to, gyrate the same, like all that.
Gyrate the same.
I couldn't figure out the word I wanted to say, so I said gyrate. Those are the
Bro,
first
he's
thing that
had
came to me.
about $250,000 fines, $250,000 worth of fines through this season
That's
so
crazy.
far. That's nuts,
That's
bro.
crazy. That's crazy. All that because you want to play into this stereotype of being a villain, and it's so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
Bro, I
But
was
like
listening
I
to
said,
Draymond
this man
Green's.
just keeps taking L's.
He does. Takes a lot of L's.
Go ahead.
I will say they did beat the Warriors the other day, but I was listening to Draymond Green's podcast, bro, and like he like on his episodes, even like past the incident of their little back and forth, he keeps finding ways to bring up Dylan Brooks. Like he had like Laurie Marketing, which is another star in the NBA, on his pod. He's like congratulating him on being a somebody. And at the end of the pod, he was like, "That's important because on the Draymond Green podcast, you got to have a little bit of cachet about you. You got to be a somebody. We can't handle Dylan Brooks on this pod. You can't be a nobody." I was like, bro, he's not letting it go. So let's all hope that the Grizzlies see the Warriors in the playoffs this year, guys. It will be fireworks. Amazing. Can't wait. Oh, also, shout out to that boy Ja Morant. I saw him back on the court. It's a parade in my city. Hey.
He got an ovation, standing ovation. Did you see that? He got a straight standing ovation from his fans after the game, after his suspension, because they were excited about his return to the court. I'm telling you, y'all basketball fans are too much, or way too much, Y'all live, eat, and breathe basketball to a point. Y'all are having a standing ovation for a guy to return to the court after he allegedly assaulted a teenager. After he allegedly was flashing a gun.
I'm sorry, guys. Relax. I'm sorry, guys, that she's doing this. I don't know what she's on. She's a regular old Sage Steele in this moment. Guys, I'm sorry. Listen.
I'm just telling you.
Morant, we know you've done nothing wrong. Keep hooping. Keep doing your thing.
We know you did nothing wrong. Are you lying to yourself right now? I wish I had a sound effect on my lap. I wish I had a sound effect in my laptop right now to say denial is a river in Egypt.
He did some wrong stuff, but we moving forward. And we gonna keep hooping. Let's keep it going.
We hope he's gonna continue moving forward in a positive manner. You know what? I don't hold my breath for people, period, let alone celebrities and athletes. But moving on. Yeah. That concludes our pop culture segment of the Reality Recap Pod. Now we're going to move on to policy and science. So this is where we like to talk a little bit more in depth about some, I said policy this time because it was a mix of things. This is where we like to talk about some politics going on. I know this isn't on necessarily the list that we had today, but I really definitely want to talk about this. We talked last podcast about the TikTok ban and everything like that, but the CEO of TikTok had his proceedings in Congress, like spoke at Congress today, and Congress asking questions, interrogating him pretty much on national TV, and it was just kind of like you can just tell this whole suit, or not even suit, but this whole threat against TikTok is so freaking baseless, so baseless. They were arguing, and being so freaking for real. They were arguing that basically this platform puts a danger to children, and like they're threatening if China, if they don't sell their stake. Like, why does this group of people have to sell their stake in the first place for us to be able to access this app? But they were trying to basically say that this whole concern is about privacy and identity. Like, it's like about privacy and also like the safety of its users. Specifically, its younger users. And so they were like, what are some precautions you put in place? Da, da, da. And so he was just saying, so we like to do an age regulation. And so this is a typical thing that every platform out there does: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And so we like to try to do an age regulation. And he was like, age, they're asking, like, age regulation? That sounds like, your invasion of privacy right there. He was like, no, we do an age regulation where like you have to share and you have to confirm and, pretty much consent that you are of age to be on this platform. And then how they go about confirming it is that they'll look at your public posts and try to see if does your age align with what you pretty much said. And they were just ripping into the CEO of TikTok. I wish I know his name. Do you know who his name is? Real quick. I don't want to be mechanical clicking, on my laptop, on my computer. But they were just had arguments that were baseless. So like if the concern was basically the age regulation, that has to be a freaking farce, because there are children of all types of ages that have a Facebook, that have an Instagram, that have a Twitter. Like come on now. I remember I think I was like a couple months or a month shy from saying that, or from being on Twitter. And like, so when I was younger, I had signed up for it. And my mom knew I had it, but I had signed up for it before the age of like you're supposed to have consent necessarily, or age of permission. And years later, I tried to update my age, and the whole count got wiped away. Because it was like basically I wasn't initially of age when I was on there, but that was a normalized thing, and that is a normalized thing on multitudes of apps. Then they try to argue that they have safety concerns for the children on the app because of a 10-year-old had died recently that was on TikTok or something like that. But I'm like, do we not have whole Lifetime movies about kids dying because of being cyberbullied on Facebook, on Instagram? There are whole Lifetime movies based on true stories. There are whole movies based on true stories. There's policy, parents advocating to Congress, House of Representatives, to enact bills, to impose bills, to invoke safety, all because of cyberbullying issues that have existed prior to the conception of TikTok. So why suddenly are we having this argument that TikTok is one of the most destructive and unsafe platforms to date?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I am seeing that people are saying that it was a disaster. The actual hearing, like, I guess he didn't do too well. So
I wouldn't agree to that. I wouldn't agree to that, because if you actually watch the hearings itself,
yeah.
And so that's why you also, a lot of folks, I hate to say it, sometimes getting the information that we see from the media is not the greatest. Like, you have to go out and see it for yourself. So I actually watched some of the proceedings, and he answered the questions that they were asking, but they didn't like the responses to his questions. And so the question, like I said, one of the questions was privacy concerns. And he was like, we do not sell. He was like, we don't do this to the information. We don't do this to the information. And he was like, well, then how do you, confirm the identities of people? And he was just like, well, they share that information. They share their names, they share their age and all that. And then they were just not satisfied with those answers. Same thing with like the deaths. They were mentioning the deaths of like a child who was on the platform. I'm just like, are these the same type of questions that we're giving Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook and Instagram now? Are these the same questions that we are giving Elon Musk in relation to Twitter? Because I know there are tons of kids that are on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter, but we don't have the same. We're not giving a hearing for them about the security and the safety of minor children.
I know Mark Zuckerberg did go through. Mark Zuckerberg did go through that. I remember that happened like 10
years
ago.
He went to, yes, Mark Zuckerberg did go to proceedings where it was privacy concerns. It wasn't about the wellness of children on the app. It was privacy concerns, selling of our information to other businesses, and that's how we get advertised to. He was selling our information. He was selling our age. He was selling our demographic. He was selling our names. He was even selling at some point probably like our contact information to other businesses so they can monopolize off it. They can monetize off of it, But it had nothing to do with the actual safety concerns with children. Why is TikTok one of those things where we're suddenly concerned about the abuse of this app or how this app could affect somebody's mental physical wellness? There are plenty of other social media out platforms out there that do that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was just a disaster, and I would just encourage everybody to just go watch the proceedings yourself. And I could maybe be a little bit biased, because I am somebody who enjoys the TikTok app.
definitely biased.
But my thing is, like, for people to have for Congress members to have these overwhelming concerns. I mean, first off, y'all are, from my understanding, government officials are not even allowed to have it on their phones. They're not allowed to even use it in the buildings. So,
What,
like,
TikTok?
you probably have yes. You have probably less, you're less likely to probably even be on the platform itself, or to even know about the user friendly, or the ability to connect with other, users on the platform and so forth. Now, am I saying TikTok is just a saving grace platform where nothing happens? No. Racism is still very much a thing on there, but racism is definitely prevalent on Facebook. Cyberbullying and hateful comments are definitely a thing on TikTok. That's definitely a thing on Instagram. So
I think
I
the
don't know.
most
This feels.
the biggest
Go
reason
ahead.
that they're doing this though is because it's owned by China, right? And so I have been reading that one of the more likely outcomes is that they're going to force TikTok to sell a lot of its shares to a company outside of China. Like, that's probably the most likely outcome from all of this. Is that because that's what's where it's coming from. The government feels that the Chinese government is going to use this as some form of whatever, right? And the reason they probably feel that way is because it's a form of deflection, or what's it called? Where you kind of know what you're doing
But
to them, and you're afraid
with
they're gonna do
that
the same
same,
thing
I
back
gotta
to you.
say, but to say you're with that argument, you could say the same thing about our government, or our United States owned and operated platforms,
That's why
like
all our stuff is
Facebook,
banned on
like
their side, though, right?
Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. A
I
lot of
guess,
American
but here's
products
the
are banned on
thing.
the other side.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing. If I was China, I'd say fuck it. Y'all just gonna have to ban us. But here's the thing. A lot of people are worried that, like, the banning of this platform could disrupt uh the trade and the marketplace between United States and China. Like, because let's be honest, like, we have a lot of things that we source from China. We have a lot of things that we get from China. Freaking cell phones are made in China. Like, an overwhelming amount of cell phones made in China. The material itself comes from different minerals and stuff that's in the ground of Africa, but a lot of the stuff that we own or we use or that we enjoy is sourced from places like China, including some social platforms. Like, let's not do that. Let's not do this. Because if this was really a matter of national security, if it was really a matter of privacy, if it was really a matter of protecting the youth, then there will be hundreds of fines and penalties placed on other social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. What was some other ones? Kick. Like,
I
come
think
on,
I
Kick
think
was
it.
such a common thing
I
that
think
kids were accessing, and it was like a freaking wild platform. So, like, come
I
on, this
think
argument is
the
baseless.
no the safety of the users and stuff like that. That's all like talking points that I think are just kind of like salacious. They sell well, but there's no way they're gonna get anywhere with that. Like, where they're going with this, bro, is a privacy argument. Like, that's where they're actually getting at, and it's the fact that this is a Chinese owned platform. And like the Mark Zuckerberg thing in 2018, he had to go back to court again a year or two ago for more privacy issues. But it's basically the same thing, except with Mark Zuckerberg was like Chinese, right? So it's like 5 times more worse in their mind because to their point, it's like they do have the ability to run the data through a software that's not American, right? Now, how compromises our privacy? I don't know. I feel like there's no way for us to know the real length to how compromised our privacy really is. In my opinion, I've always felt this way, bro. I operate as if my privacy is always compromised at all times,
It's
bro.
already gone. It's
Like,
already gone.
but also one thing is like our privacy, right? What are we hiding? Like, as long as government officials, which as you mentioned, they are not allowed to use TikTok because of the privacy concerns, right? As long as if they can't use it, why does it matter if we're using it? Like, bro, what data are they stealing from us regular civilians to where it's like such a crazy like risk? I don't see
Let's
what
be
that would
honest.
possibly be.
I think this is just a matter of not being able to monetize off it. And
There's that
so
too, bro.
a lot of people are arguing that allegedly people like Mark Zuckerberg and other people who pretty much financially do well, like these big corporations, are arguing, like pretty much lobbied for this bill to happen, for this hearing to happen, because this platform was directly competing with the likes of Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people are allegingly that like this was just a lobbying thing for the wealthy and the elite to still have control over being able to maintain being wealthy and elite. And so, because think about it, when TikTok came out, what was every platform doing? Every platform was suddenly integrating the reel or integrating the video aspect heavily after TikTok blew up on, especially during the pandemic, and even now. Uh, TikTok had a whole influencer program, a content creator program, when they were paying people on TikTok to kind of like keep up a social presence on their platform, to keep up engagement, and they would get a monetized value for that. And so people were like kind of leaving their social platforms where they feel like they weren't making enough money or getting enough branding or getting a lot of opportunities. They were going over to TikTok. Allegedly, what did Facebook do? They started creating a creator, like an influencer program, where they started paying content creators. They started paying influencers. Now suddenly, I think article just got released where Facebook is no longer going to do that anymore. They're no longer going to start paying people for content creation, like the influencer program, similar to what TikTok was doing with their influencer program. Why are you suddenly not doing that anymore? For me, it just feels like a joke. It feels like a joke. And honestly, if we allow them to do something like this, it's just kind of like this would be the first step of censorship to a lot of things for us. Like I'm gonna be honest, once that we lost net neutrality, like that whole thing just didn't go in our favor for that. I just knew it would just be the floodgates of so many stuff towards us in regards to internet access and autonomy over what we use on the internet and how we access it. I knew it was just gonna go downhill. So,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
uh,
happens. I don't know what the likelihood is. I looked at the numbers. They don't really have a good number base. It's pretty in the air. I think we're kind of early on
yeah,
in what happens with this. So we'll see.
we'll see. Um, so moving on to our next topic, I'm gonna have to keep it going a little faster. I'm going a little slow. But moving on to our next topic, I'm enjoying the topics, you know. But moving on to our next topic, you hear about Trump indictment, possible indictment.
Listen, bro, this is a non-starter. It's just like, bro, this is like the whole your side versus my side stuff. Like the Trump indictment, like I've been over that for the
But the
past.
indictment, I thought it was about his sexual assault allegations. It has nothing to do with, I thought.
Bro, when they didn't pin Trump
I
on
thought it
his
had nothing to
taxes,
do.
when they did not pin
Yeah.
Trump on his taxes, which is an open and shut case, clear and dry, I knew at that point, and the other thing that came against him afterwards was probably not going to work. Also, too, at this point, bro, I'm just, he's a civilian to me now. I don't care. It's like, like unless he like really
Did you
is like
see?
a favorite to compete against Ron DeSantis, which I feel like Ron DeSantis is going to win the Republican nomination hands down. So at this point, I don't even know. I don't
Did
know.
you see them AI photos they got of Trump? Somebody created of Trump being
Mm-mm.
arrested. Somebody created this AI photo where it looked like Trump was being dragged to jail. And I'm not gonna lie, for like a faint second, I was like,
No, it was
this is
real.
Trump being dragged to jail. I was like, never in my living days did I ever think I'd see a photo of Trump actually going to jail for his crimes. For his crimes, man.
Listen, bro, when we get closer to the next election cycle, we gotta cover the actual stuff while live watching the debates. That'd be fire. I want to do that so bad.
Yeah.
But nah, dude, I don't know.
Honestly, they're
He's
saying
not going
like
to
an
jail.
indictment is unknown and like their arrest didn't happen too. So it's just kind of like at this point, people are like losing hope that anything is really gonna happen in relation to this. And I'm honestly in the same mindset too, where I agree where like the whole tax stuff, we didn't do anything with that. When then freaking didn't we end up indicting him for the January 6th storm of Capitol? but nothing
That's
happened of
but,
that. So
but that's the thing, bro. They only attack him on stuff that like they know they can win on, and it's not like super like they're not gonna go for him on the stuff that can really put him away. You know what I mean? They're playing softball with him at all times, bro. So at this point, it's like,
but
what's
this
the
is
point?
for so they're saying, like, I'm looking at this article from CNBC where it says Trump live updates grand jury to resume work at noon, but may not be on the indictment by Kevin Brewinger, and it's basically saying that proceedings might not be related to the investigation of a hush money payout to porn star Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 presidential election from Michael Cohen, who was Trump's personal lawyer at the time. Instead, the grand jury is expected to handle another case unrelated to the payoff. But Trump faces 3 other serious criminal inquiries in Washington, D.C. and Georgia, and he seeks the 2024 presidential nomination. And so he's got just one of many legal battles right now. And so people had thought this was in relation to like his victims allegedly sexually assaulting and or abusing some women, but that's a completely different investigation. So a lot of people are like that's what I'm confused on. So like, why are we hearing stories about Trump being indicted, but we have no idea what the possible indictment could be for and the possible charges could be for? So that's why I'm also feeling like this ain't gonna really go nowhere.
I think the left wing, bro, is just really horny to see Trump be put behind bars. Like
fuck out of
here. So anytime there's any like little whiff of like, oh, you know, they could probably get him on this. They're like, oh, for real? You know what I mean? But like,
get the heck out of here.
When it's time to actually put him behind jail.
So
it's time to actually put him behind bars. Then all of a sudden
they be scared shitless. They be scared to actually.
It's a fight because the Democrats don't want to fight, bro.
Get out of here.
The illusion of fighting.
Get out of here. That's gross.
It's not gross.
It's so freaking gross. It's like the worst analogy you could have said.
That was a good analogy.
Okay, moving on. Speaking of AI, I might just jump to this next one. Have you heard the story about, like, first off, let's talk about this. This AI stuff, why are we not talking about, like, this being scary? This is some scary shit, okay? We are allowing AI to just happen in every aspects of our freaking life. They're already trying to replace, okay, people at the freaking Walmart checkout lanes, number one. They're already doing these virtual freaking fast food places, like for McDonald's. AI, like ChatGPT, is like popping up everywhere. You know, it was even on a freaking episode of South Park. That's how you know it's bad right now, okay? But then in addition to this, I was just like going through like the news, and I saw it says the WGA would allow artificial intelligence in script writing as long as writers maintain credit. Are we fucking for real?
Hey man, it is what it is.
For real? Like, are we really about to like? We gonna have robots write stories now?
The next screenwriters is gonna be really coders. The new screenwriters is coders, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
That is so freaking scary. It says the Writers Guild of America has proposed allowing artificial intelligence to write scripts as long as it doesn't affect the writer's credits or residuals. The guild had previously enacted and indicated that it would propose regulating the use of AI in the writing process, which has recently surfaced as a concern for writers who fear losing out on jobs. But contrary to some expectations, the guild is now proposing an outright ban of the use of AI. So they're pretty much just saying, like, we're open to it. The proposal will allow a writer to use ChatGPT to help write a script without having to share the writing credit or divide residuals. Residuals? I feel like it's residuals.
Oh my god. Residuals. I was wondering what you were saying, bro.
I'm like having a mental part right now. I was reading this article and I'm like, dang, I need to be reading again, because why is this a freaking struggle to say this word?
Residuals.
I'm like, this could not be residuals.
That's
I will say
hilarious.
this: you ever like hear a word in your lifetime, but you've never actually seen the word spelled out? This
Yeah.
is one of those words for me. I have
This is
heard
the
the
first time
word
seeing it.
1,000 times in my life, but I've never seen this word. Like this crazy. Okay, moving on. But I don't know about y'all, but as a writer myself, as a filmmaker, shout out director, writer, producer.
Oh my
Need some
god.
work. Let me know. As a writer myself, this makes me very nervous, like really, really nervous, because it's the idea that like, no, for real, I'm already having like, it's already like the entertainment industry is already very competitive. Just fucking with people. It's already
Mhm.
competitive. As a black woman trying to compete with the industry elites, the white boys who are the film bros. So
A side
now
note,
I gotta
can I go side note?
compete with a fucking computer. I'm gonna compete with a computer.
I want to pause right
What?
there because you just did one of my favorite honesty isms at that moment.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Have you guys ever noticed?
One day,
her-
the black community, the black Hollywood community will look back on this and they would be like, "This man trying to undermine the black woman's experience."
It's funny,
Don't
you
do
knew
it.
exactly what I was about to go to, too. But one time, Honesty told me a story. She was like, I was going to Walmart, as a black woman going to Walmart. I was like, okay. How else was you going to Walmart as a white woman? Was there options? I was going to work today as a black woman. I had to wipe my ass today as a black woman.
Get the fuck out of here. I love my black ass identity, but sometimes that shit could be an inconvenience when you're around niggas who don't respect the black ass identity, okay? So when I take my black ass to Walmart sometimes, I be having some hiccups with some folks who don't have a black ass identity.
As a black woman. That's hilarious. I'm spitting my drink out as a black woman.
Bro, you didn't spit my drink out on my microphone. I can't stand you.
Bro. What are we talking about?
We're basically talking about AI, okay? AI
Oh,
in the writing world. But to put it plainly, like it's already very freaking competitive. It's already competitive. And you mean like I'm not gonna be competing with you, just you every day, niggas. I gotta compete with a freaking computer too?
Well, here's the thing, bro.
You
Look,
niggas be Harvard elites. These be Harvard elites. New York Film School, USC graduate type fucking writers, and then you bring in a robot to write with you? What the fuck am I gonna do?
Okay, but here's
I'm
my
gonna stick
thing,
my
bro.
black ass where I'm at right now.
Have you seen some of this AI writing though? I don't think we're at the point yet where they're gonna be snatching jobs left and right. I'm not saying it won't happen eventually, but right now they're like in preschool, bro. They have not graduated high school yet. When the AI graduates high school, we gonna be in trouble. Right now, it's a little shaky.
I hope it don't kick off in my lifetime. Let the next generation do with that shit.
We'll see.
Why do my generation?
It won't be us, bro. It won't be us. Oh, we don't even have flying cars yet.
Hitting my chest right now. Bro, why does my generation have to deal with the bullshit? I've lived through a pandemic. I'm living in heavy police brutality age. I'm living in heavy like equality discrepancies. Why does my generation inflation, possible recession on the rise? Why does my generation have to deal with a number of this stuff? At this point, you just get numb to it.
It's not our generation, bro. Look, it's gonna be the next one. Look, we still got other more basic problems before we even get to AI still in screenwriting.
What are the basic problems? Problems?
We still are buying bacon packets that don't reseal. You mean to tell me that AI is gonna take my job? Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. Okay.
That was weirdly specific. That was weirdly specific.
But am I wrong?
Specific.
Am I wrong?
You're definitely not wrong. My ass be having to foil that shit back up just to preserve it, bro. I be so irritated.
All you gotta do is
freaking irritated.
You gotta find like a nice thick box or something in your refrigerator that's heavy and use that to wedge the folded bacon pack against the wall.
This is like a struggle for him because this man is a bacon fucking eater. It don't matter what breakfast spot he going to. It don't matter what he's eating in the morning. He's gonna have a slice of microwaved bacon. I kid you fucking not.
That goes well with
I kid you
breakfast,
not.
lunch, or dinner.
This
Now,
man,
unless you get some
okay,
bacon
I need
bits
to
on your
ask a
ice
question.
cream.
Gross. Gross. Are you the type to eat bacon bits on a donut too?
No, absolutely not. That's disrespectful to the
That's-
bacon.
I about to say that's just too far. That's just too far for you.
I don't like sweet
Oh
and
my
bacon, bro.
God.
To be honest with you.
But you like bacon on ice cream?
No, I'm saying it's a thing. I'm not saying I do that specifically. But I was just
You sounded a
letting
little
you
excited
know.
when you heard that. Bacon on ice cream. You sounded excited.
That's pretty gross, bro. That's like a bacon Pop Tart. Listen, there's some things we shouldn't do, bro. You know?
That's gross. That's gross. Didn't one ice cream company come out? Was it Blue Bunny or Ben & Jerry that recently came out with like a ranch flavor or sour cream and onion flavored ice cream? It was one of them folks. They said I'm like,
I
it's
don't know.
trash, okay?
But I will say the whole ranch has on America is disgusting. Why is ranch like the most?
Bro,
It's ridiculous.
it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, ranch had a hold on me than a motherfucker. I could not eat a salad unless the mug was soup, basically, for ranch. I kid you not.
Bro,
I kid you not. Bro, facts, okay? Hidden Valley, ranch, okay? But I kid you not now. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Like, it's just too much for me. So whenever I get like some Wingstop, I'll get wings anywhere. But I'm gonna be specific. Wingstop, and they be trying to throw in like a pack of ranch. I'm like, I don't need that. Hold that. You can hold that. I don't want that. It's just too freaking milky.
Wingstop's ranch is pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a pass.
Ranch and blue cheese. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna use it. If anything, I'm gonna use it for the fries because the fries be dry as fuck sometimes. Like they be seasoned to perfection, but they be dry as fuck.
You get the lemon pepper seasoning fries. That's where it's at.
Like yes, but they be still dry as fuck. Okay. But
what's
moving
next,
on.
Man?
Last little bit, they're trying to say that we have a deadly fungal infection spreading at an alarming rate across the country. Have you heard of this? Heard of this?
Nope.
It's pretty gross. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Like it kind of looks really gross, like really gross. But people are going up in arms about this. They're like, "It's basically The Last of Us. We're living The Last of Us right now." You know. Also, if you have not watched that yet, Shaka, you need to get on it. Like you playing games at this point, bro. That looks so freaking gross. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why are you pulling up pictures of this? We don't need to see this. We just need to learn about it, okay? They're saying a deadly fungal infection is spreading like wildfire right now, and it's very common amongst mold that lives indoors and outdoors. And so the proper word is Candida auris infection. You know what? Today, maybe I just should stop pronouncing words today. You know, if I don't know the word, I should stop pronouncing the words because
look where it's at.
I'm looking like it facts. Okay, you know, Florida want to be its own state so bad they can have the infections too. They can have it. But are we surprised, bro? This is the same state that refused to go on lockdown. They had a huge infection, huge outbreak, right in the midst of spring break. Niggas was going to, what is that beach? Is it Daytona Beach? Just to be knocked out for the next 2 weeks because of COVID. People was playing in Florida, but you know, like we said, Florida is one of those places where it feels like it needs its own state. But that is all we got for our politics, specifically policy and science category. And we're gonna move on to our next category. Oh my god, I should probably stop drinking this Dr. Pepper, but that Dr. Pepper busting. Okay. But you know, so our old podcast, we used to have the category, and I really liked the title for it. It was called "Are You Still Watching?" And I think we should keep that because I really liked that category name. It was fire. You know, we gotta keep that. But what we have recently watched, and we're gonna continue watching, so we can give you an honest review of it, is Donald Glover's Swarm. Okay. If you do not know what Swarm is, it is a new Amazon Prime series. I believe it's roughly 7 episodes, scripted episodes, produced or created by Donald Glover and Janine Barbers, I think. And it centers on a young woman. Let me pull it up because I want to give the proper information, okay, about it. But This show is created by Donald Glover and Janine Neighbors, and it focuses on an obsessed Houston-based fan who goes to increasingly violent lengths for her favorite R&B singer. This new episode just came out. The first episode came out March 17th, so it pretty much came out like last week. And it's featuring Dominique Fishback, who plays Dre, the lead, Chloe Bailey, who plays Marissa, Damson Idris from Snowfall, who I think his name was Festival. I could be wrong. Billie Eilish, and Paris Jackson, the late great Michael Jackson's son or daughter. And yeah, y'all here. I looked on Twitter. I watched it specifically for y'all today because I really want to give an honest opinion. And after I watched it, I was just like, let me just go to see what Twitter's saying about it. And I cannot believe y'all are eating this up. Y'all are eating this show up. Shaka, what's your thoughts about it? I'll let you go before I keep going. You know? Go ahead. I know you get a lot of shit.
The first thing that caught my mind, hopefully, it's like, side note, if you're watching the video version, we have like this little trailer going. Hopefully this doesn't cause problems. But anyways, when I first watched it, obviously the first things that come to my mind were, the real filmic look it has going on, this like square aspect ratio, some of the quick cuts in the beginning. It's real like what you call it? It's real artsy, I would say. It's really trying to stand out from the crowd, so that's really interesting. I think as I started to watch it, bro, like I passed all like the visual aesthetic of it, right? Which I'm like indifferent on. Like I'm not like some heavy film bro kind of dude where I just love the film look, right? But I mean, I can appreciate it, but the actual like story, bro, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't for me, but it just felt really contrived, I think is the word, right? I think when I usually watch things that I really like, it's because like the plot feels almost like this is like what was supposed to happen. Almost like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like that's the only outcome, right? Like this character wanted something really bad. They went out to achieve it or to obtain it. And then 1 + 1 made 2, A, B, C, D, like one thing led to another. As I watched this show, there was just so many moments where I was just like, what is going on here, bro? Like, what are they doing? It's like I was just questioning like that instead of being fully immersed in the show at times. And my last bit on that is I get that it's heavily in the realm of like shows like Atlanta, what you call it? What's the one that was on HBO?
Bro, it's the freaking playbook of Atlanta.
Like what's the Random Acts of Flyness? All these like Afro surrealism like works of art that are really like popping off in like the last 5 years. It's definitely within the realm of that kind of stuff. A little bit of Jordan Peele like horror-esque vibes, right? And so I get that some of the weirdness is by design, but at the same time, I don't want to like go into this watching it just thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be weird, blah blah blah. Like I do feel like at times it's trying to be cool for cool's sake. I don't know. But what do you think about that specifically? Like being cool for cool's sake. Do you see any of that, or am I kind of off base by saying that?
Yeah, I would say I would agree to that. Like I feel like it's not even just trying to be cool for cool's sake, it's trying to also be jarring for surprise sake. There were tons of scenes in here that just felt so random that it didn't really make any sense to me. Like, let's be honest. Y'all been in a chokehold about this sex scene with Damson Idris and Chloe Bailey. And I'm here to tell y'all that sex scene just felt so out of place and so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. So unnecessary. And for it to happen in the first couple of minutes of the film, it was also like, it felt a bit pointless. There was a whole another scene with the strawberries with Rory Culkin. Rory Culkin. What's his name? Culkin. Rory Culkin. Where he had a bowl of strawberries up against his genitals. Like, what is going on? Like that
I
was
do
another thing
think,
too. This is hold on, let me
yeah,
finish.
yeah.
This is also, I feel like, is very clearly very inspired by the persona, the performer, and the fan base of Beyonce. It's very freaking clear. I mean, the story takes place in freaking Houston. It's very clear,
Well, it's called
and I
Storm.
just
They're
felt
not
like
hiding
also,
that.
bro, it's very clear. And so that was also another thing too. I was thinking like, I think the story would have been even more like like the idea of Afro surrealism is that is playing into the reality of things, but like drawing a dramatic and out of world feel to something that is like real life situations or scenarios or topics, right? Here's my thing. There have been fan bases of other notable people where this would have made the most sense for me. Like, I get there's like this overall obsession with who the person is inspired by for this project, but there are other notable fan bases that are incredibly toxic and feature very toxic people who've gone to lengths to pretty much present them like toxic energy to the performer or the artist themselves. You got like fan base, Taylor Swift fan base, where she's had stalkers. You have people like Harry Styles fan base, which is just crazy. You have Justin Bieber fan bases. And so there have even just been a numerous cases of people from those particular fan bases who've gone on and done extremities to be present for concerts, to connect with that artist, or to convince other people to enjoy that artist. And so it just felt also not as like authentic and really trying to pull kind of like that reality dynamic from Afro surrealism, which was just a little frustrating for me. And it's just also too, it just felt like it was just stuff that just didn't make sense to me, that were supposed to clearly play into the satirical psychological thriller element of it, and it just felt like it was just something that was just supposed to be like, what the fuck for me. Like, it was started sitting here, was like, what the fuck, why would you do that? Like, what's the point of doing that? You know, like, for instance, spoiler, when she fucking shoved the pie in her mouth after she stabbed Damson Idris' character, Khalid, or also known by Stung. Like, that was that didn't, or Khalid, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, why are you stuffing your face after like having a bloody blunt, like beating somebody bludgeoningly? And I guess that's a theme. Also, some people are saying in the show is like every episode after she goes on a rampage of killing somebody, like she has to like feed herself afterwards, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't. And I didn't know like it maybe did have a meaning too, because like also in the beginning, that was a topic of discussion, was that this character wasn't eating. And like the first and so like suddenly we're starting to see her devour. It was just it's just a little, it's a lot. And and the thing is, with Afro surrealism, things are supposed to be intentional, right? It's supposed to really make you think. And there's just certain things in here like, what was I supposed to gain from this? What am I supposed to learn from this? What was I supposed to like get from this? And it just feels too much like it's just following the same template of Atlanta. That also kind of bothers me. So I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
had to cut you off, but
I think for me personally, I firmly disagree with the Beyonce point. In my opinion, I get why they did that, just because they want, based on what I've seen, they wanted to tell a black story with all black characters about black artists. And so, if we take out all the three people you named,
Michael Jackson
Beyonce,
had the biggest fan base ever, to where niggas were literally chopping off of buildings to just get a hug from him.
I
People were
don't think they wanted to set the
literally,
story in the 70s, though. I think Beyonce, I don't know if there's another artist in modern times that has as big of a fan base that's as diehard
that's black.
as that's black as Beyonce. I can't name another black artist with the fan base as passionate and as like diehard as Beyonce. The closest thing to it, in my opinion, is probably Nicki Minaj. But Nicki
I
Minaj's
was gonna
fans,
say Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj's
They're
fans
toxic
are
as
not.
fuck.
But Nicki Minaj's fans, I don't think, are at the level of Beyonce. Also, this story feels very much like it's set in the mid 2000s, which that would also lend itself to more of a Beyonce story. And I think, lastly, to that point, as writers, I think we can appreciate the whole like beehive motif they had going. Like, that was one thing I think actually did work. Like this, like the metaphorical swarm, beehive. And so at that point, I get using Beyonce. That really didn't bother me that much. So I was okay with that. I think also too, just going to like your pie point. For me personally, I didn't get the pie thing either. But if there's like an actual real reasoning, maybe like the whole consumption thing of like, her going on like a rampage is like her feeding. So they're kind of alluding to that. I'm not so much against that. I do wish they would have found a way to maybe sell that a little better. But I mean, I get like, everything's meant to be intentional. It does feel intentional. And maybe it just feels like, maybe it feels like what they're intending to do just wasn't strong enough for me personally. You know what I mean?
Also, one thing that just didn't really make any sense to me was Marissa dying. Like, why is Chloe Bailey dying in this first episode? And here's the thing, like that was so random to me because like technically, like it seems like we are supposed to think that Dre is supposed to be the unstable one. Mentally, she's the unstable one. Wow. Marissa is the more secure one mentally. Like she's very clearly confident about herself physically. She's very focused. She has goals. Like she knows she wants to pursue makeup. That's what she's going for. She has a relationship, and whether it's a good relationship or not, I mean, we know that it's not. The dude is trash. She has a lot going for her. She also has the one that's kind of like got her faculties together, her profession, profession together, her finances together. And so for her to suddenly kill herself over a person like Dre, kill herself, period, but over a person, not a person like Dre, a person like Khalid, it didn't really make any sense to me because clearly the first episode was showing us that she was the more stable character and had no inkling. They hadn't showed us nothing that would show us that she's maybe just overwhelmed with being the more stable person either. So that just also didn't make any sense to me. Like if the point was just to literally be the, like if her death was literally just supposed to be the moment that Dre's character snaps, be that as it may, cool. But make that a little bit more just plain. Like, don't try to like draw me back into maybe in the next episode or whatever, trying to make it seem like her death has significance to the story, because it really just feels like it just was random, and at most it's probably just gonna show us like this character is having a snap moment. But then it's like, why would that be the moment that this character was snapped? I would assume if this character is so Nyjah obsessed, why wouldn't it be something around Nyjah that would make this character snap? Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. And like just backtracking a second, like I think you made a really good point with the whole like character conflation, where Dominique Fishback's character is like the mentally unstable one, but the significant mentally unstable act that we see the first one, there's two of them, but the first one is when Chloe Bailey's character kills herself. That really does feel like that's out of character. Also, like the whole because he cheated thing, right? It was like, I don't know. It just felt real like convenient that that's the reason that happened. Where it's like in real life, just based off what I've seen and like what we all have seen, right? When things like that happen, bro, and like she's so in denial in the moment, right? I don't think you go
back
from
to the ex.
This will say I don't think denial goes from realization in a matter of 4 hours. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something that's like a lot more drawn out because she seemed very infatuated with the Damson Idris character, right? So it was just kind of hard for me to believe in that quick span of time that there was like this complete shift, right? Also, too, like she's like forgiving Drea after getting fired, and like she would still be resentful to her and not calling her just because she broke up with her boyfriend. I think she'd be mad at both of them, wouldn't she?
Yeah. If anything, I think the most realistic part of like this interaction between Dre and Riss is she would still feel like Dre was lying. Excuse me. She would still feel like Dre was lying, and she would choose Khalid's character over Dre. And if anything, she would just go on, live her life, and not really want any connection with Dre still, because that's what manipulation is. And that's also one thing I'm confused on too. What is their real relationship? Like, are they really sisters? Because
Yo, sorry, continue.
bro, because Khalid was like they call each other sis, but then Khalid was saying basically they don't really look alike. Like I
They're not
still
real
he was
sisters.
like he struggles. Oh, okay,
The family kicked her out of the funeral.
Yes, the
She
family
came in
kicked her
that
out of the
suit,
funeral.
that dress or whatever.
But why would Khalid think? Why would he say that? Like, I'm still trying to figure out where y'all look a lot alike. Like, yeah, I
think it's
can't
one of
get.
those
He literally.
things. I
He's
think
like
what
he
they were.
can't get over it.
I think it's one of the things what they were trying to do. And granted, I'm not them, and I agree with you. It is confusing because I was watching it with Lauren, which is one of my friends, right? And like we were both talking like, so what is the relation? And so what I think they were trying to do with that was just to show that the Danes and Idris character is not really that close to Chloe. Like it's kind of a newer fling to where like he even like, oh, y'all are sisters. He doesn't know that they're just saying like we're, you know what I mean?
We're
He like it's
sis.
like
We're so close.
I think it's just trying to show that like he really isn't like they're not really that close. Like, they're not tight boyfriend girlfriend. It's more like a fling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then that was also another thing too. Is like why? Like I wish we would have saw some type of interaction with the family in offense to Dre prior to her getting kicked out by the funeral organizer, like the funeral home of Chloe Bates' funeral. Like,
no,
because like my thing is, it would have been nice to know like had her family for a long time already felt some type of way towards Dre. Why now is like there a situation where like they don't want Dre to be around Chloe? Do they falter for the death of Chloe's character? Or is it just they never were in favor of the type of relationship that they had? Like what was that? Like I would have liked to have seen that. And another thing is saying like Chloe's character is supposed to be a reoccurring character. Like Marissa's supposed to be a reoccurring character, so like how else is Chloe's character gonna pop up throughout the story? You know what I'm saying? So
it's gonna be, I think, flashback type stuff, dude, and like magical, not magical, but like dreamlike sequences. And like, you know, me personally, you know, I like that type of stuff. But I just feel like based off what we saw here, it doesn't feel like a lot of stuff is earned. It feels like they do what they want to do without worrying about like, oh, is this actually motivated? And that's what kind of bothers me. And once again, I want to couch all of this by saying that there are some people that will watch this and really love it. The people that like Atlanta, and like, granted, my feelings on Atlanta are not set in stone, concrete. Like that's just my personal. It's not for me, and so I think this show is similar in that vein. Where like, I have to be careful with how I criticize things because I know that like it might not be built for me as like an audience member in mind. And I think that might be a lot of what's going on.
But that can't be a justification every time. Like that can't be a justification every time when you watch something, because you can critique something without necessarily being a fan base of that particular format. You can enjoy something without necessarily being the target audience. Like I'm be honest, The Office, I'm not the target audience for The Office, but I do respect and do enjoy episodes when I do see them. I understand
I'll say that though,
like the format of it and all that.
Well, I'll say that though is I don't think this show, and I don't think anyone argue is this show is like a generational type of show. To where like, you know, like The Office is not for you, honestly, but it's like one of those shows where it's like one of the greatest comedic shows of all time. So it's like you're gonna see that it's still elite.
But you can't even compare it to a generational show either. Like that's also another thing. Like we're getting hooked on and hyped up on the semantics of it all, and the reality is, you don't enjoy the show, you don't enjoy the show. You see flaws in the show, you see flaws in the show. Yes, we know there are people that do enjoy it, who do understand it, but the reality is there were plot holes within at least the first episode that I watched. There were plot holes that I recognized in the story, and it just felt like there were certain things that were being done for the sake of just being jarring versus really filling the genre of Afro surrealism.
No, I feel you, dude. One thing I was going to bring up too is that didn't make sense to me, and I just realized it is the whole storyline of Dre being a virgin and then wanting to sleep with Chloe's boyfriend was actually not really paid off, bro. Because if they wanted to actually pay it off, there should have been more of a physical moment to where maybe Chloe catches, like, her finding out that he's cheating should not have been some revelation. It should have been catching in the act, right? And so why do all this planting where we're thinking like they're gonna do something with Dominic Fishback's character and Damson Idris,
Yes.
only for it to be a fake out, but then Chloe still dies because he cheated. So it's just like, why do we need that if you're just
That's
gonna
what I'm
fake us
saying.
out and that not be the reason?
Or couldn't, and that's what I was like too. That's what I was thinking too. If they were gonna do it if they were gonna kill Chloe and it was gonna be a relationship cheating, why not put Dre and Khalid in a situation where it seems like Dre is cheating with Khalid? Chloe's character walks in on it and assumes that, and then decides to kill herself. Why not let that be one of the ways to go about it? And
Maybe that's
then
the
she
thing,
starts
bro.
to blame Khalid for it, and that's why she goes off and kills Khalid. You know,
That's
that would have made more sense.
bro, that's what's the most frustrating thing for me about some of these products, bro. And this goes back to Atlanta too, is there are actual seeds for something that I think that I would really enjoy. It's just that they're not. It's like they have a storyline, an endpoint, and it's like we're going to our endpoint. We're going to do how we want to do it. We don't care about any level of cause and effect, bro. It's like we're gonna be weird and we're gonna like, I don't know.
And
It's
that's probably
strange.
why I just like stuff like this. Like, I am inclined. I watch anything for the most part. I try to watch anything and everything. I try to at least watch anything and everything once. Like, I'll watch something that don't have a really good story behind it, and I'll watch something there's a fantastic story behind it. You know, but I at least give stuff a chance. And I'm telling you right now, like, this for me right now, episode 1, I'm just left with more questions than answers. And if that's the intended goal, fantastic. Y'all did it. You know, you left your girl confused, bamboozled, hoodwinked, because I have no idea where the story is really going for me. And I'm not understanding where the plots are connecting. But I hope there is a turnaround, you know. And like I said, we'll continue watching it just to be able to give our honest feedback. So we encourage y'all to watch it with us so we can
Bro,
share in the same sentiments. But I don't know.
last thing. This reminded me too is, bro, when they had the scene with Macaulay Culkin's brother, I forget his name, and like, what?
Go ahead.
You know that's Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Yes, I did know that. They look alike. They all look alike. The
They
brothers
look
all
a
look
lot
alike.
alike. That's some strong genes. Well,
They have the same
anyway,
face, just different hairstyles.
he's a
low-key.
little fatter in the face though. But bro, I knew they were gonna show his penis, bro. Because look, bro, we're living in an era where
I
think,
said that.
I knew it because like right now, I think a lot of filmmakers are like trying to like make it more even to where it's not just women that we see naked. But that right there felt so forced, bro.
Mhm.
I was like, you guys want to show this so bad.
It was so. You didn't hear me say that earlier, where I said it was so unnecessary. I said the male genitals by the strawberry bowl.
I just want to double down on it. I just want to double down, bro. Because like
that was
you know who else is
so
really bad about that,
unnecessary, and it was just like, go ahead.
bro? Euphoria. I have not really dived into Euphoria, but I haven't seen it. They just have a lot of nudity for nudity's sake, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, they do. They do. But you know, they talk about your boy with that one. That's your boy.
Who?
You know, he under fire with that one.
Who's
The
my
creative
boy?
Euphoria.
I just
Creative
bro,
Euphoria.
that's definitely not my boy. Don't say that.
Oh my goodness. I feel like there was something else I had to say about this, but ultimately, right now, y'all, I'm just watching it because I want to be a part of the community who's watching it and having commentary on it. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be for me, for real. I don't know. But we're going to move on. That concludes our Are You Still Watching category. We're going to move on to our next category. I'm pulling the same title from our previous podcast, but this is our Add to Queue category. We got a couple films or shows, whether documentary, whether thriller, whether horror, that we would like to recommend for you in this category that is coming out or has already been released. And so the first film on this list is Inside. So Inside is a new indie film that has recently came out March 10th in theaters. So depending on your theater, you might still get the chance to watch it, but a high-end art thief becomes trapped inside a luxury high-tech penthouse in New York Times Square. After his heist doesn't go as planned, locked inside with nothing but priceless works of art, he must use all of his cunning cunning, and invention to survive. One thing I'm gonna say is this sentence was hecka long. That was run on like a mug, bro. But it's rated R. It's a psychological thriller. Came out March 10th, but I feel like that was only going to like pretty local theaters and film festival runs type thing. But it stars our favorite William Defoe. It also stars Josiah Krug, Gene Berberowitz, and Eliza. I'm not even say the same last name because I feel like I'm gonna butcher it. Um, Director is Vasilis. Jesus, I don't know these names, bro. I'm just not good at it.
Katsupis.
I'm sorry. I'm
Bacillus
sorry.
Katsupis.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how to pronounce it. But we've got it tapped in. We got it saved. We're gonna try and go check it out ourselves pretty soon. I'm pretty interested in it. It doesn't have the greatest score right now on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. It's pretty
boy.
much just passing. But it looks interesting, so I kind of want to check it out. But you know, a lot of times people don't really like films where like a character is just on their own for most of the movie. Like that is a lot of people don't enjoy films like that. A lot of people do.
It's
So
risky, bro.
I don't
It's
mind watching a
risky.
film like that. Very,
It's one of those
very.
things where if it falls flat, ain't nobody else gonna save you, boy. Hey, look.
But next on the list that you might want to see, coming out April 6, 2023, starring Stevie Yuen and Ali Wong, Beef. Produced by A24 and Netflix, Beef follows the aftermath of a road rage incident between two strangers, Danny Cho, played by Stevie Yuen, a failing contractor with a chip on his shoulder, goes head to head with Amy Lau, Ali Wong, a self-made entrepreneur with picturesque life. The increasing stakes of their feud unraveled their lives and relationships in the darkly comedic and deeply moving series. When I saw the trailer for it, like, I hope you don't think you're about to get this overwhelming metaphorical or answer to life with this. I feel like this is just going to be a really lighthearted thing to watch that's fun to watch, starring some really good actors, and that might have a message in it, and I'm excited to see it. A24 always does a really good job producing films too, so I'm definitely going to give it a watch. It comes out on Netflix. So it also, I think, it reminds me honestly of that one film where it was based on a true story, but these group of friends who have had this game of tag. It's called Tag, the movie. It
Okay.
reminds me of Tag, the movie, where the group of friends have continued the game of tag all the way from like childhood to adulthood. And it's literally based on a true story, or based on a real group of friends who literally have done that. And I mean, that also doesn't have the greatest, score either. Tag itself.
Man.
But it was just a fun watch. But it was supposed to be pulling from the same energy of like game night, hangover, and
This is
that. But I'm
definitely
excited.
this is definitely one of those things where it's like if you already are predisposed to this type of comedy, right? I think you'll be in
Mhm.
decent hands. I don't think it's one of those
Mhm.
things where if you don't like this style of movie, I would probably
Mhm.
say steer clear of this. This is not going to be the one to convert you. But if this is like,
Mhm.
if you like comedies, you like this kind of stuff, I think anytime Ali Wong or Steven Yeun are like acting or something, I feel like they do a pretty solid job. I don't feel like
For sure.
they ever or drop the ball. Like they always do their thing. It's just more so like if you like that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, I
No.
mean, like Ali Wong was in a movie with another actor for Netflix that was pretty good, and it was also just a lighthearted rom com. And it's just also too, like, I think it's very refreshing to have a film like this that has two leads of Asian descent in a film starring along each other who have really good acting chops too. So this was also nice.
You
And
know
so
what
that
that
leads me right
was?
into what?
I was gonna say I think the one you were talking about was Always Be My Maybe. It
Always
was
be
the
my
one where
baby.
like
Oh yeah, with Ali Wong. I like that one. I really liked that one too. So
yeah.
the leading right into, next film, Joyride. Joyride stars my girl, Stephanie Sue, but also Ashley Park, Sherry Cola. I love Sherry Cola. She's from Good Trouble too. Sabrina Wu, David Denman, and Desmond Chime or Shim. I don't know. But the story centers on four Asian American friends bond while traveling through Asia in search of one of their birth mothers, discovering the truth of what it means to know and love themselves. And so the story is really tapping into the identity of not only being Asian, but also being maybe of Asian descent with two white parents and trying to rediscover and connect with that identity and heritage, but in a comedic way with a group of friends. So it gives me vibes of like Girls Trip, but with a younger group of friends who are of a different identity. And I think it's also a very interesting story. And I feel like it's really also refreshing to see this too. Like I feel like we were having these conversations about seeing more Asian representation in film, and like we're starting to subtly see like it's not a lot, and it definitely should be more. But I feel like we're starting to see a sudden a shift coming right now in the industry, and the type of stories and how often these stories are told and what format they're told in. You know, like I never imagined a role where we would be able to get a film like Beef and Joyride so soon after Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so that's amazing. I love that, you know? So I'm very excited actually to see this one. Like out of all these movies I mentioned, I think this is the one I'm the most excited to see for sure.
Not for sure. I hear
So
you, dude.
last on the list for Atticue is Pretty Baby. So do you know who Brooke Shields is?
Yes.
Okay, the Gerber baby. Is she the Gerber baby, right? From my
Is she
understanding,
the
she's the
Gerber
Gerber
baby?
baby.
I don't know her from that, but okay.
I don't know. She might
I
not
know her
be
because
the
of
Gerber
Michael
baby.
Jackson. Her and their little whatever they had,
That's
a little
sad. Do you not
fling.
know her from Blue Lagoon?
Like I said,
That's
I know
sad.
her from the Michael Jackson fling.
That's sad. But back to the point itself, Brooke Shields is. If you don't know who Brooke Shield is a actress who pretty much, um, rose to fame at a very young age. I think it was maybe 12. I'm not really sure, but she was a young American actress and model, child model, and she gained a lot of critical acclaim and attention for roles that she took on at a very young age, like the films Blue Lagoon and Pretty Baby. But here's the thing, y'all. Brooke Brooke Shields was definitely a child who was heavily sexualized and exploited within the Hollywood industry. And so this documentary is set to highlight her experience of pretty much being exploited and sexualized as a young actress within the industry. And honestly, it feels like an expose, and it's gonna just highlight some of the things that she experienced and encountered, not only by the film and television industry, but also by the hands of her mother, who has often been criticized for allegedly not protecting her in instances where she was sexualized and exploited. I mean, Blue Lagoon, like that's a heavily criticized film featuring pretty much two teenagers who were pretty much naked most of the film, and actually Brooke Shields she wasn't a teenager, she was pretty much a child.
That's I know what you're talking about based off the controversy. I didn't know that was that, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Brooke Shields starred in that, and so she's finally, for the first time, she's really, really gonna just let it all out in this documentary that's coming out called Pretty Baby. And it's interesting because she starred in the film called Pretty Baby. So I think it might center around this first film she ever acted in, which kind of spearheaded the exploitation of her. I'm not sure. But honestly, I'm looking forward to it. It's supposed to be coming out on Hulu. I think it's going to be an interesting watch. I love a good documentary. I don't miss a good documentary. I just got done watching a documentary, which was The Trials of Gabriel Hernandez on Hulu. And yes, that came out in 2020. But, I didn't watch it then. And I finally watched it now. And that was an emotional roller coaster. That was wild.
Dude, I need to
but
get
this is supposed
into...
to be... Go ahead.
for someone, I guess it's speaking behind the curtain, for someone who like has a job editing documentaries and all commercials that are documentary-esque, I surprisingly watch very few documentaries. I definitely need to get into some more, dude.
And as someone who's never done any bits of documentary work, well, I did a short documentary called Bear.
Yeah.
I produced and directed one. But I love documentaries. I don't care what genre they are either, whether they're crime, they're thriller, whether they're sports, whether whatever. I just enjoy them.
It was sick, and this is like in the weeds, so I'll get off this in a second. But what's good about a good doc to you and all the other audience members is it's like you get to see like guerrilla-esque filmmaking at times. You get to see like really like creative storytelling in ways that you don't really see in narrative filmmaking because they're trying to find ways to convey ideas
on the fly.
And, like, yeah, so it's like really like, okay, I don't have time to set up this shot perfect. So let me get this, and this. And you get to see the editor really like stringing and making stories out of almost nothing. So it's kind of cool to see like when you see a really good one and just to see like, oh, they went here, they went there. Like, this is unscripted. This is like real life. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool.
I agree. But that is something to save you all. It's called Pretty Baby Brookfield's original documentary. It'll be premiering and streaming only on Hulu April 3rd of this year. So make sure you add that to the queue, and you definitely tune in when it drops, because I'll definitely be tuning in that I believe that Monday to watch it for sure. So, but that's all I had for the add the queue category. Oh, I did it.
You're disrespectful.
What are you talking about?
I know you didn't do what I thought you. Bro, look, before we film again, John Wick 4 will be in theaters. And this
oh, get the heck out of here.
I've been waiting on John Wick 4 for 2 years straight, bro. I've been waiting on this. I will be in theaters.
I mentioned that the last podcast. You
should mention it again this one, too.
So dramatic.
The next pod might be the John Wick pod. I might come in a suit. The tie, a little skinny tie, like my boy Keanu.
He's not. Just to let you know, for those who are listening, he's not gonna do it. And for those who's watching, he's not. He's being overly
big
dramatic.
Big hater. I might put the theater in a suit.
In all my years of knowing you, I've never seen you wear a tie. Never seen you wear a suit jacket. I've seen you wear a blue button-down shirt and some jeans.
I'm a whole outfit.
With like a white t-shirt.
Tons of suits on campus, bro. You just weren't looking. That's
crazy. I've seen you wear. I think the last time that's like when I saw you dressed up. I think that was the first and last time ever.
Wow, that's crazy. I dressed up all the time back in the day.
Well, that's too fucking bad. But that concludes our reality recap podcast. New Bam episode 2. Thank you guys who are listening and who may just be watching for tuning in for this week's episode of Reality Recap. We always do a live recording, so make sure you tap in with this next episode. If you don't tap into our live recordings, that's okay, because it automatically gets shared to our YouTube channel, Reality Recapped, and it also is shared on Spotify for the Reality Recapped podcast as well. So thank you for tuning in today. If you have not done so already, make sure you follow us on Spotify. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, specifically Instagram. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and feel free to follow us on our personal socials too. I mean, Shaka's got his handle
B94 on Twitter.
All the socials.
Yeah. For all the people listening to the audio, not to just dismiss.
I can't stand you. That was so disrespectful. Yeah. That was so disrespectful. Dismissive as fuck.
Hey, Shock V94 to all those on Twitter. SHAK. I mean on Spotify. SHAK.
You can even say your freaking handle right.
BE94. Hey, side note. Remember when we came into this and she tried to make fun of me because I don't like saying who I am right away because I'm used to being introduced as number 21 out of Kansas City, Lake North High School, whatever.
I wish y'all could see my face right now, who those are just listening.
This is the evidence that I was that guy. Who else has just like
you made that yourself? You literally made that yourself, and then he's y'all. For those who are listening,
they went crazy for this back in the day, bro. This sold out immediately.
image or this makeshift as graphic of himself, this animated graphic of himself in a basketball jersey that don't even correspond to the actual colors you wore for your team. Okay,
Yes,
number one.
Whoa.
Number
Whoa.
two. First off, anybody can literally go on Google, be like, I need a pop-up photo of a graphic of myself for my office space and get something printed out on themselves. Nobody respect that. Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right, we'll see you
That
guys
concludes
next
our
time.
episode, everybody. You'll keep over talking to me? You'll keep over talking to me? Okay.
They came to see me. I'm the star, so they do want to hear more of me. I'm just giving people what they want.
Goodbye. But that concludes our episode, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and feel free to join us next Thursday live filming, and next Friday for just a listen. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.